Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
You know, as we get older and plan for the future, it's really hard for me to understand how a cemetery can raise its burial costs and blame it on the higher cost of living. Good morning. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America on a Tuesday. Good morning, everybody. There she goes, the lovely Kate Smith, and God bless America. Good morning on this Tuesday, December the 16th. My goodness, I've got to get my Christmas shopping done. And without further ado, we say Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. And don't forget some of our great advertisers, too, like Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call them 734-6969. Vroom, 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 vroom. Here comes Harley Girl.
Good morning, sunshine.
You call me that almost every day when I call in.
I do.
But there's a cloud on my forehead this morning.
Oh, how come?
Well, yesterday was a bad day.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I took Deanne into a doctor's appointment and fell asleep in the parking lot.
Uh-oh.
And I literally could have been carried out of my vehicle, laid on the curb, and someone could have used me for a welcome mat. I mean, I passed out like you can't believe, and the dog didn't. Ruby was there, and she was no help whatsoever. She didn't bark at anybody or anything. I was zonkers, and so when I woke up and Deanne came back, I said, we're going home, and I did. I didn't get any Christmas shopping done.
And did you continue on with your nap?
No, she doesn't drive my pickup well. I was going to have her drive home, but then that would have been possibly a bad move.
Oh, gotcha.
She does not like to drive a big outfit, and she has a tendency when she gets behind the wheel of my pickup to treat others like they do not belong on the road.
Well, come on, it's a big truck, make room.
No kidding. I had to hang a sign on the front of that puppy when she's driving saying, hey, Mama's coming off the road, dude.
That is funny.
And if you could see on our other alternate camera, she is standing out in the hallway right now looking at me where they look that...
Put your hands on her hips.
One of them.
Oh, yep, okay.
The other one's up in the air.
Yeah, and it's pointing. She's telling me you're number one.
I'm still number one in her life. That means a lot. Do we have a pledger?
We have Rotten on for the pledge and Mr. Michael Rogers on for the wedding.
Okay, Rotten, go ahead. Bail me out, man. Talk.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, man, thank you. God bless you, and Helen, thank you.
Okay.
All right, sir. And now, ladies and gentlemen, time for the weather, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for that blue door. There it is. Carpet and flooring and kitchen construction and all your Christmas ornaments and newly refurbished furniture. Oh, bunches and bunches. Whatever you need to make your house a home. Kyle and Whitney Cheney, wonderful people at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Stop in and visit with them today. Tell them Zeb sent you. 1228 Oakley Oakley Avenue in Burley, or give them a call at 678-6945. Look for the blue door. And right now, let's look for our weatherman. Good morning, Michael.
Hey, good morning, everybody. You got a weather system that's going to... the weather system that's coming through could be a heck of a lot worse than what you're going to get. So where am I going with this? Chance of rain and snow. Slight chance of rain and snow should kick in just before lunchtime. The consistent weather... let's just say the consistent weather action that we're going to get this week still remains the cooler temperatures. Upper 40s for the daytime high. Mid to upper 20s for the overnight low. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 47 for the weather. So what do you got?
All right, Michael. Thank you so much. MichaelRogersWeather.com, the world's best weatherman. Brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, and they're located at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Wonderful people. Hey, don't forget, coming up on Thursday, you're going to hear the chant of Merv May on Thursdays at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy all helping you along with the rest of the crew at Burley Livestock to have a ripping good livestock sale. This is the sale that works for you. Call them for consignments at 678-9411. I'd give you a whole slug of other numbers, but you won't remember them, but you'll remember this one, 678-9411. 10 a.m. every Thursday, sale day at Burley Livestock Sale Yard. You put it on your calendar right now. We have got a lot of things to talk about this morning and a lot of different subjects. And one thing I want to mention really quick is that I had this note about a lady by the name of Zaray Hurtado, and she very unexpectedly, way too soon, welcomed a 2 months premature little baby into the world by the name of Andy. And Andy is not doing so good, and he's up at the Port Neuf Hospital, and this lady needs a little help. And she works at Denny's restaurant. And if we all could just stop in and maybe leave a little in the basket for mom and son to hopefully do well, we'd appreciate it. The Denny's team over there, and they've got one that needs a little help. And so if you get a chance, stop by and just give a little extra for Zaray Hurtado and her baby, Andy. I think that's a very good cause, especially at Christmas time. Don't forget Daryl's Cleaners. Man, have I got some stuff to take in there. I got a whole bag of rumply-crumply Wranglers and sports shirts and everything else. And I think what I'm going to do is wait till after Christmas, because then by then my closet will be depleted. I'll just take the whole thing in there. And whatever you need cleaned, whatever you need cleaned, they can take care of it. They are the world's best. And by the way, too, it's still Christmas time, and you're probably scratching your head saying, what can I give Aunt Martha? Well, give her a prepaid gift card from Daryl's Cleaners, and then after Christmas is over, she can take the tablecloth and everything else in there. That's a great idea at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Oh, and by the way, you'd be surprised, and Gina, you would be shocked, absolutely put back 5 rows in the theater, if you could see me using my tablet.
You've been using your tablet?
Yes, and I'm not talking about one that's a Big Chief tablet that you write in. I'm talking about an electronic tablet. I am starting to learn little things. I have discovered high tech.
So does this mean you can surf the internet by yourself?
Nope.
Can you check your email?
Yes, on my phone.
Well, hey, that's not bad.
Things are starting to progress. Ye who thought I was still building a fire by rubbing sticks together, ah, contraire.
Welcome to the 21st century, Deb.
I just had to throw that at you, because you don't believe it, but I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to stop over to the station, and I'm just going to show you one of these days.
Okay, please do, because my son can run one really well.
How old is he?
7.
That's embarrassing.
I know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyway, SafeLink Internet, don't forget, first month free plus free installation, no contracts, no credit checks, unlimited data. Oh, it's Idaho's #1 choice for wireless high-speed internet. 17 years and counting. They are the best at SafeLink Internet Services. Call now, get on the program, 677-8000. 677-8000, SafeLink Internet. I've been really I'm going to take this call, and then I'm going to get into a story that I've kind of put off this morning because it's so devastating to me. Stand by, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
I had to laugh when you said you didn't know how to start a fire with 2 sticks. Knowing you, Zebra, you'd probably get 2 wet sticks and that don't work.
What else do you have for us this morning, Mr. Butler?
Well, the county commissioners put the screws to us. That's all I got to say.
I read the article, but now let me ask you a quick question. And I noticed there was, after the hearing closed, and I'm reading from the paper, Dennis Crane said he voted to approve the ordinance change because he felt it was the right thing to do, but he is still not completely sold on its merits. Is there still some wiggle room not to put it there?
I think so, but it's going to take somebody to educate a couple of commissioners to read the rules and regulations that were made back when they put this subdivision in here and all these other places, because CUNO don't believe that they're in effect or supposed to protect us. I mean, there's inferior people down here, which we've been called, have been following the rules and regulations, but the city of Burley goes along with 2 commissioners, and they're putting the screws to it.
Well, I'm going to do some follow-up on this today after the program. I just got the newspaper this morning and saw that story, but you and Carlene and others might want to give me a call after the program, okay?
So I'm going to whiz by your house to Twin Falls, so have a good one, and I'll try not to disturb you.
Okay. Honk as thou goest byest. Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Calls welcome 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. By the way, Deanne, is it still snowing outside? You said it was a minute ago. It's still snowing. Gina, are you getting any angel dandruff over there?
No,
Yeah, it's snowing here right now. And here is something that is amazing, Gina, that you're just going to sit back and go, no kidding. It's snowing outside. And I have 2, not 1, but 2 pesky flies bothering me inside. Now, that's kind of an interesting little offshoot, isn't it?
I have noticed that there's been some flies at my house, and I'm like, shouldn't you guys be dead by now?
Yeah, and then I helped them along. These 2 are just driving me nuts. Here it is snowing outside. It's December 16th, and I've got 2 flies that are completely wacko on the season it is.
They need to die,
Yeah.
and so help them along.
Thank you. You have a vicious side to you, you know.
I do. Well, with especially flies.
Okay.
They are the annoyance.
You know, and they always aim for your mouth.
Always.
Yeah, when you're on a microphone, they're always after your mouth.
I know. It's annoying.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, you're welcome.
Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 26. I know somebody out there in Radio Land, I know it as well as I'm sitting here, just said, well, then why is your mouth always open? That's how I make my living. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Don't forget they've got all the furnace filters, the air filters that are going to make and let your furnace operate efficiently. I know, you get out of bed in the morning and you're just like everybody else. You just tippy-toe over to the thermostat and you say, come on, baby, warm me up. You don't think about that furnace downstairs having a dirty old ugly air filter. Come on. Buy some nice ones, good ones, quality ones at Ramsey Heating and Electric. And it's going to save you money. You better believe it. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Oh, and by the way, we had a wonderful time last week over at Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Their clothing department and their boots and, my goodness, everything in the store. They had it all. And the jewelry. Oh, they have got outstanding gift-giving ideas for Christmas over there at Valleywide Home and Ranch. And I just want you to go on in and check out all the store specials. And don't forget, too, they still have that naughty or nice drawing. And all you have to do is bring in an unwrapped small gift, put it in the box by the Christmas tree, and your name will be entered for a possible $100 gift card drawing. Where? I'll tell you, at Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Now, Deanne is giving me a lot of things that I need to look at and talk about, but I can't while I'm on the air here this morning. Maybe I can get to it here in a little bit. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to get into this story. I've been putting it off, and this is going to be hard for me. This is going to be tough for me this morning. It's Christmas time, and Christmas and the reason for the season, and then you have something so vile as to what happened over in Pakistan. I mean, I don't care if you live in Pakistan. I don't care if you live in Korea. I don't care if you live in Thailand. This is one of the most vile stories that I've ever had to report on. The Taliban, pathetic excuses for human beings, walked into a school yesterday with their machine guns and started shooting, started killing, started maiming. Over 120 children and teachers were killed. Mostly children. This, I'm sorry folks, this just really gets to me. And especially, let me explain why. The Taliban and ISIS and Al-Qaeda, vermins that crawl on their bellies in the earth. And I, as an American citizen, am supposed to feel remorse to the likes of what U.S. Congressman Jackie Spires from California said last week. Oh no, the way we've treated these terrorists, it's terrible, and in interrogation we should apologize to them. Ladies and gentlemen, with 120 plus children laying on the ground at that school, the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and ISIS, all of these groups, they should be obliterated. Absolutely obliterated. And I'm going to say this one more time, and there's a couple of do-gooders out in the audience that don't like this. If anyone had prior information, and they had caught someone that was with those groups and they had them in custody, to save 120 children's lives, don't you dare sit there and play do-gooder with me or anybody else, saying that you wouldn't have pulled their fingernails off, their fingers off, their toes off, anything to get that information to save those children. I am so doggone sick and tired of the filthy-minded left, liberals that have an insanity clause built into them, saying that they wouldn't do it because it's beneath them to treat people that way. And now 120 children are lying dead. I don't care if they're Pakistanis. I don't care if they're Americans. Whatever country. They're children. And now they've died for nothing more than just the absolute pathetic minds of radical Muslim extremists. Muslims that couldn't care less about life. Why? Why? Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I guarantee you, after listening to Jackie Spires of California issuing a call for an apology to terrorists because we might have waterboarded them, we might have done something to end the interrogation, enhance the answering of questions, I don't care. I don't care. Calls are welcome. Let's not forget our friends at Berry Equipment and Rental. And they, of course, have 3 locations in Twin Falls on Addison Avenue West, South Lincoln and Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. And by the way, they wanted me to remind you that they have a used high-lift loader. It's a Case 621E with 6,100 hours. Great low price. Call Jordan Johnstone at 316-6763. It would be a great backup dairy machine. As a good bucket and quick coupler, all of this is right there available at Berry Equipment and Rental. Eli, Nick, and the crew serving you with the best of equipment to get the job done right. Berry Equipment and Rental, Twin Falls, Jerome, and Burley. Let's not forget our friends at Denny's Restaurant, too. Oh, these are just some wonderful people. And on Thursdays, we ask a special question at 9:12 where you can get the answer and build your own Grand Slam breakfast. Free! Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. It is the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Proud to be there. And we had Thomas on the phone with us yesterday. Wonderful person. And they've also got another location located on Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Two great Denny's restaurants in Burley and Twin Falls. You stop in and enjoy the menu today. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And you know, another part of this story that needs to be mentioned this morning is the part that Barack Hussein Obama, our president, is making more drastic cuts to our military, more absolutely savage cuts to our budget and what we have to protect ourselves. And the military and their attitude, and their attitude is down like almost 60-70%. They really have a low morale. Thanks to this vile man that calls himself the President of the United States. He wants to diminish to almost the point of no return our military. And then you hear and read and see the news stories about the Taliban killing 120 plus children in Pakistan. For what reason? Just to be the most vile human beings on the earth. Gary Shoresman. Gary's listening every day, and I just absolutely admire this man. He has a great ability, and he's written many, many books, historical books of this area, fantastic books for the history buff, and literally keepsakes for generations to come. Really, folks, they are on sale at the bookstore on the square in Rupert and Minidoka County Museum. Don't pass up the opportunity to get Gary Shoresman's books for Christmas. They are outstanding, and each and every one of them so well thought out and presented. Gary Shoresman and his historical reviews, keepsakes for generations to come. You know, why are we not getting any calls? Why are we not upset about this morning? I mean, ladies and gentlemen, the human race is in absolute trouble right now this morning of losing any and all sanity and reality and kind of a socialized attitude. When you step into a school like Al-Qaeda did and wantonly just shoot children, what in the world is going on? Let's not forget our friends at Quality's Electronics. I talked to Bruce yesterday at 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls, and I'm telling you, folks, they've had this great big Christmas sale going on now for a long, long time, and you are going to benefit from the savings and the extended hours at Quality's Electronics, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. They're open 9 to 7 Monday through Friday and 9 to 6 on Saturdays. Wonderful people, and don't forget the Samsung 65-inch smart LED TV, just $11.99. Wow, what savings! And Blu-ray players at savings that you can't afford to pass up. You'd better get in there today to Quality's Electronics, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls, and they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. We're going to take a moment and wait for your phone calls while we have the Pacific Steel and Recycling folks sponsor Capital Press Ag Minute, and at Pacific Steel and Recycling, helping hands for the holidays. Bring in 2 canned or non-perishable food items, and you will be given $10 more per ton for scrap iron and a 5-cent bonus on aluminum. These are wonderful, wonderful people helping those in need at Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley. Number to call, 678-2321. Here now, the Ag Minute.
The Capital Press Ag Minute is brought to you by OnlyAg.com.
Snowfall is seriously lagging in Washington, creating a precarious situation for irrigators as winter approaches. Experts say the snowpack must increase substantially in early 2015 to ensure adequate water supplies for next year's irrigation season. Snowpacks are roughly 60% below average in Washington, while precipitation has been above average. The numbers signal a late start to the snow season rather than a dire outlook for irrigators, since there's still the potential for significant snowfall in the early months of 2015. Irrigators have less reason to be nervous in Idaho, where rainfall has been about average and snowpacks are only 20% below normal. With the Capital Press Ag Minute, this is Hannah Brose.
To receive instant, exclusive, unlimited access to the West Agricultural News Source, register your account today at capitalpress.com.
Oh, thank you very much, Capital Press. And also special thanks to Pacific Steel and Recycling. Wonderful people at 320 West Main in Burley, helping you help others. Thank you very much. All right, where's the calls? 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. In another story that I wanted to comment on this morning, and I'd like you to share your thoughts with us, I really last night started thinking about the 29-year-old professor that was is still wet behind the ears, a college professor that was at the New York City protests against the police. And he was arrested because he had with him a bag of hammers that he wanted to pass out, possibly and very probably to be used by the protesters to bludgeon the police. Well, they arrested him, and he probably is out of jail, probably bailed out, but I got to thinking about this last night. And let's fight fire a little bit with fire. I think what they should do is when he appears before the judge for the sentencing of what his crime was, and possibly would have been, I think and nobody else thought about this in the national media, but I honestly think they should sentence him to 30 straight days of having to go on ride-alongs with the police in New York City. They should make sure that he has to go in the squad car. He has to go and see exactly what they do to save lives and also put their lives in jeopardy. He needs to go and see crime at its vilest form. He needs to be subjected to what the police do to protect you and I and everyone else. He needs to be in harm's way so he can appreciate what these policemen are doing to try to keep everyone safe and sane. So whether they'll do something like that or not, I don't know. But I'll guarantee you that would be the best thing, to send him and anybody else that's anti-police and these stupid people out there walking on the street saying, what do we want? Dead cops. When do we want it? Now. That was their chant. And again, if they were arrested, they should be sentenced to that type of community service. Come on, give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let's not forget our friends at Snyder's Surplus. You name something and call them up and say, do you have that? And they'll go, yes. And then you'll think about it a little bit, and then you call them back and say, well, do you have that? And they'll go, yes. They have an inventory over there that is absolutely amazing at Snyder's Surplus. I don't care if you're talking about sleeping bags to guns to ammo to warm woolly blankets and socks and furniture. I mean, just name it. Go on in the brand new store. And it's at the same location, 112 South, 200 west of Rupert. And Leland and Tammy and the rest of the crew will help you. Stop in. They wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas at Snyder's Surplus. You stop in and see them today. Really nice people. Oh, and speaking of nice people, let's get our Christmas wishes out of the way here, and then I'll take some of your calls that I know are coming in. And that, of course, brings us up to Western Waste, Twin Falls and Jerome. Locally owned Western Waste, serving you, and service is the key word. They've had a great year, and they hope you did too, and they want to continue serving you in 2015. Western Waste Services, Twin Falls, Jerome, locally owned. Merry Christmas. And Dot Foods, 1541 West 27th Street in Burley. They're always looking for new drivers, and they have some openings right now. Great pay, great benefits, including medical medical, vision, dental, woo, 401k, paid vacation. Man, they call. 678-6063.foods. Wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Along with our friends at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, 1177 7th Street in Hayburn, Kay and the rest of the folks over there. What a great visitor center and gift shop. They've got some really unique gifts over there at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. You stop in today. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. Do you really think that making them ride along with a police officer would do any good?
Absolutely.
That's dumber than a liberal Democrat.
No, I do. And I'm not going to diminish what I said. I heartily believe that if they're in the front seat and they see what these officers are put through, and give them 30 days, because habits change in 30 days. It takes that long for people to have a refurbishment of their mind. I absolutely think it would.
Oh, okay. Well, I just wanted to start a fight.
Well, you didn't start one with me because I wasn't going to change my opinion, and maybe you weren't going to change yours. I'm just saying that they need to be put in. Just a minute, Jerry. They need to be put out in front with the police so they can appreciate what the police do and how they put their lives on the line.
Well, everybody has a bad opinion of what the cop is. But, that cop helps your child if he's in trouble. He helps your wife if they're in trouble. They help you if you're in trouble. Their main job is to help, to do good things, to solve problems.
I agree.
And, sometimes them problems are split second. They don't even have time to think.
I agree.
They just have to react.
Jerry, I so much agree.
People that want to condemn them need to be condemned themselves. They've got to be dumber than a board. They don't look at both sides of the situation and what happens in the world.
Amen. Amen, Jerry. Thank you so much. Appreciate your call as always. Have a great day and Merry Christmas to you, my dear friend.
Yes, and Merry Christmas to you, and may the Lord bless you and all yours.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Caller number 2, I'm coming. Stand by. Don't go away. Don't collect $200. Do not pass go. Don't forget Scouse CarQuest Centers. Customer satisfaction is the goal. I know these people. I've sat in their offices, and they care and work very hard to provide the excellent service you've grown to expect since 1949. Listen, since 1949 they've been serving you. That tells you right there they care and that they're the best at Scouse CarQuest Centers. That's right. Every detail matters at Scouse, and you can find all your automotive replacement products, accessories, and supplies for virtually all vehicles. Scouse CarQuest Centers. That's right. At 518 Overland and Burley, 323 East 8th and Highway 25 in Rupert, and exit 211 I-84. Scouse CarQuest and excellence. Now that's a team that you can rely on. You stop in and see them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Merry Christmas to you.
And the very same right back at you.
Yeah, I was watching a deal on the news, and they're talking to one of those protesters, and they're saying that what they wanted would be better to live in communism. So I think we just ought to pack them up and send them over.
Wait a minute. Whoa, Doug, wait a minute. You bring up an excellent point. Number one, I would venture to say, and I did not see that clip, but I would venture to say that young punk that said that probably was not above 30 years of age.
About 35 or so.
Well, the point is, and the point I think you and I both can make, they don't know what they're talking about. They have never lived under a regime of Fidel Castro or underneath Putin or anything else. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know how good they've got it in this country. They don't know how to work. They don't know how to try to succeed, and they don't know how to try to make something of their life.
That's exactly it. They're the ones that are on the take, on welfare. That's why they got so much time to go protest. They don't have a job to go to.
This is the greatest country in the world, and it still has the greatest opportunity level. And I absolutely cannot understand these people that have no common sense, no brain whatsoever, that condemn our way of living and our capitalism, and they've got every chance to be successful.
That's true. I got to run and grab a phone.
Okay, well, go ahead, Doug. Thanks much. Appreciate it. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What is the matter with these people? They haven't been anywhere, done anything, and at the end of their life, you know what they're going to say at their eulogy? Nothing. Why? Because they did nothing. What did they do to help mankind? Nothing. What did they do to help themselves and better their family? Nothing. Because they're too doggone lazy to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps and go do something. There is a ton of opportunity in this world, and I'm sick and tired of these no-good crybabies that won't take advantage of it. Don't forget Sophie's Chatterbox. Calm down, Zeb. Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street on the Square. Absolutely the great, great bakery with wedding cakes, cookie bars, homemade bread, delicious cinnamon rolls. Oh, boy, are they good. And, of course, don't forget they're open for breakfast, lunch, or supper Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 6 to 2. Sophie's Chatterbox on the Square in Rupert. Delicious. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Well, all of these are their products of our education system. The university systems are just cesspools of socialism with this Common Core. That'll be the final nail in the coffin as far as our students at that level being able to get any kind of feeling for the greatness of this country, because I would encourage everybody to get a hold of our legislators to defund Common Core when they get up to Boise next month, because that will be the final nail in the coffin as far as any patriotism in our school curriculum.
All right, hold on. Adrian, and don't go on a ramble with me here. Just give me a short answer. Did anybody help you and give you things to learn how to be a doctor of agronomy? Did they give you a kind of a yellow brick road? Oh, we're going to pave the way for Adrian. They didn't for me either.
Well, no, absolutely not. I wanted to go to college, and my dad said 3 words: get a job.
There you go.
Because we just had 160 acres dry land, and even in southeast Wyoming, where you get a little more rain, 160 acres doesn't support a family of 5. And so my brother and I and my sister, as soon as she got graduated, we all got jobs out of the farm, and still did our chores and everything at home. But
why is it? Wait a minute. Whoa! Stop just for a second. Why is it that the generation today, these punks, and I'm going to call them what I think they are, these punks that are interviewed on the news that want to stand out there all day long and protest and lay down on the roads and everything, they don't have a job, they're worthless, they're no contributors to society whatsoever. Why is it that we went to work, we paid for our education, we pulled ourselves up by our own bootstraps? When I started this program, you know what my first paycheck was from starting this program over 16 years ago? $300 for the first month. Whoopee-I-K-O. Boy, that's really ripping them.
Well, I think we all started that. I look back at what going to school and what little we had to scrape by on, and we didn't have anything special. Even when I grew up, I mean, we lived in poverty. By today's standards, we were in abject poverty, but we never went hungry because we worked hard and raised our own food, and we all pitched in there. We were dressing out 200 chickens a week and selling them into Cheyenne. Now, if you don't think that's a lot of work, folks, I'll let you in doing it all by hand, and I can guarantee you that's a lot of work.
Absolutely. Adrian, I'm telling you, I do not, and I underline this, and maybe you disagree with me somewhat, I do not feel any sympathy for the younger generation, and I'm saying like those 35 and under that are sitting there crybabying about what they can't do. You can do anything if you'll just get up off the couch and get off your dead butt and go to work.
Yeah, that's the 4-letter word called work, and it's so easy just to let somebody else. The training now is the government's going to take care of you. Some wealthy person is going to drop out of the ceiling and give you a job. You got to get out there and work. But our school system, I mean, Our college system is so indoctrinated with socialism and communism. You heard the gal said, "Well, what do you want?" Somebody was asked, "What do you want?" He says, "We want communism."
Yeah.
It was right on the news last night.
It's so pathetic, and they don't know
what they're wanting.
That's right. I got to run and do the weather, Adrian. But Merry Christmas, my dear friend. Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas to you too. Keep up the fight.
I will do that, sir. I'm telling you, I look at those young people get on television. Oh, I'm going to get rid of capitalism. I can't stand it anymore. Are you working? No. What are you doing? Oh, I'm a full-time student. How old are you? 37. Oh, what are you majoring in? Oh, I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet. You haven't made up your mind at 37 years of age what you're going to do? You're a leech on society. Get a job. I don't care if you're flipping hot dogs. Hamburgers. Excuse me. Anyway, it's time for the weather. Let's go to the weather right now, brought to you by Mad River Laser at 502 East Street in Rupert. Hey, she has got something else to really tantalize you. Personalized necklaces with the person's name on them. What a great Christmas present. Oh, my. And all the Christmas home decor items are 25% off. And the big T-shirt sale is going to end next Tuesday. All kinds of great things at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. You stop over and see her today. Right now, Michael Rogers weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers is at the ranch. In the weather for today, you've got a slight chance of rain and snow. This should kick in about 11 o'clock this morning. Otherwise, our weather story turns out to be a weather system where it could be a lot worse than what I just gave you. But other than that, you'll come out of it. Tomorrow's going to be a nice day, partly sunny, high 43. Temperature's still going to be in the 40s for the daytime high, and mid-upper 20s for the overnight low. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. And by the way, 11 o'clock, Mike, it's snowing right here. Anyway, don't forget Nicole and the crew at Mad River Laser. Wonderful people. I got to talk to her later on this morning. 502 East Street in Rupert. You stop over and see her today. Did I hear the moo of a cow? If I did, I'll just say, good morning.
No, you didn't.
I did too. There it is. Call's coming in. I'll just hang on. There we go. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Talk to me, caller.
Are you there?
I'm listening. Go ahead.
You know the difference between our generation and their generation? In our generation, everybody was kind of poor and stuff, and your folks gave you two things: food in your belly, clothes on your back. And if you wanted to go to the show, you had to find a way to earn some money, and that's what taught us to work.
Absolutely.
Working on the farms and stuff.
Absolutely. I make no bones about it that when I was a freshman in college, sir, I was a jerk and twiddled away the money that my dad helped me to go to the University of Wisconsin. And boy, when that dude was over, my dad looked at me and said, "Son, you are on your own. You want to go to school, you pay for it yourself." So I went to work in a print shop and saved the money and went back to the University of Minnesota affiliate, Brown Institute, to get my communications degree, paid for it by myself. Best thing that ever happened to me, and I'm so glad that my dad got tough and said, no more money, you do it yourself. And you know something? That's what should happen to each and every one of these punks today.
Well, they've got so used to the free handout that I know people that related to me, 2-bedroom apartment and everything, $8 a month for rent. I mean, if you have $8 a month rent, what makes you want to get out of bed in the morning and even go look for a job?
How can anybody, and I dare people to call on this and criticize me for my thoughts, how can anybody stand up for these punks and these absolutely worthless, non-working individuals that stand up and say they want to have communism come into our country when they're unemployed? They have never really smelled the roses as to what they can do with their own wares, what they can do with their own abilities, and try to be successful. Sir, I am absolutely livid at these people because they're worthless.
Well, and part of your problem right there is because they don't teach a true history anymore in the schools.
I agree. And to you and your family, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, sir.
Thank you very much. A man always calls. Very nice man. I do not feel any compassion to these younger generations whatsoever. Oh, and wait a minute. Let me say this. There are some excellent young people. There are some. I mean, you've heard me many, many times praise a lot of the great young people in this area. Maybe some have gone through the FFA programs. Maybe some are young businessmen. I know some young businessmen in this area that are absolutely dedicated to being successful. I'm not saying all, but when you see a large number of these people stand up on a bridge in New York and say that they want to go to communism and death to the police and everything, what in the hell is the matter with these people? They've had it too easy, and they haven't had to earn their own way. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, Nick Greenwell and the rest of the crew. These are outstanding people that work with Nick as far as the physical therapist. They know all the exercises. They know all about sports medicine. They know all about whether you're 6 months old baby or a 96-year-old man. I mean, they are absolutely going to give you the exercises to help you get back to being and feeling like you. Very comprehensive services, and believe me, they know the options to help you feel better. At Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. The number to call for an appointment, do this, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Boy, those are good folks. I mean, that's just a personal sideline. Those are good folks right there. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. No, I'm serious. That 29-year-old college professor, what has he ever done? 29 years old, and all he does is go out and buy a bag full of hammers. Probably stole them. And he wants to pass them out to beat and bludgeon police? Please. What is going on in this world? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, Zeb.
Sir.
You know, I can see a lot of things that I complain about, and I could, raise Cain about and get out there and demonstrate. But they're not doing it for the right reason. And if they do it for the right reason, this country would make a lot better progress. Have you ever sit down and made a list of the things that you don't like about this country?
No.
No, you think positive. You think more on the positive side of making things better.
No, wait a minute, Dwayne. You just have made one of the best points that I've heard in a long time. And that was one of the best questions ever asked of me. Do I ever sit down and make a list of the things that I'm have animus against this country? No, and I answered emphatically. I can tell you this: I sit down at night and pray and thank God for what I have that this country has offered me.
Well, you get these emails of all the complaints, like the congressman getting a lifetime retirement for just serving a little bit or doing nothing, things like that. You really get uptight about it. But then you stop and think, and I have been in many foreign countries, and there is no country like this one.
Amen.
There's the people here, the poor people in this country are rich in the foreign country.
Yeah, you are so right. And it just sickens me to the point where my knuckles get white and I just want to throw my Tony Lama through the TV screen when I see these nincompoops that have never been anywhere, never done anything, never accomplished anything. 29-year-old professor is going to get a bag of hammers and bludgeon police? Dwayne, I am so incensed, and I'll go back to what I said earlier. The best punishment for that kind of a cretin is to make him go on ride-alongs with the NYPD for 30 days, and I'll guarantee you it'll change his attitude.
Well, they don't. My dad died when I was 13 years old, and it was my older brothers and their wives that kept me alive long enough to go into the Air Force. I was a wild kid. I didn't have any discipline at all. I went a few days without eating, believe me. and I know what it's like. And when I got out of the Air Force, I was a disciplined kid, and I knew what life was about. I was ready to go to work, and I haven't stopped working till I retired.
I got to do a commercial break, but I really do appreciate the way you phrased that question, because I'll tell you what, we all should be on our knees thanking the good Lord above that we were born into this Constitution in this country. God bless you, Dwayne. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Oh, I tell you what, I would not be a very good judge in New York City or anywhere else, because I'd probably sentence them to 2 weeks of hard labor, and then I'd make them sit in the front lines with the police department and appreciate and respect what they do. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the very best of traction tires and, of course, tires pinned for studs and tire chains. I mean, if it comes to bad weather and bad roads, zip, you're going right on through. And, of course, the very best in batteries, too. And brake service. I mean, hey, if you've got any questions at all about your four-wheeled wonder not being safe for wintertime driving, you better stop in to your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and they'll check it over. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. There is none better than your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Coming up next hour, I met this lady at the remote broadcast over at Valleywide last week. Her name is Lynn Porter, and she's going to be discussing cold cases and how she tries to help and be of assistance to police in cold cases and forensic archaeology. And I honestly do not know any more than that. I'm kind of going to this cold turkey myself. And then at 9:30, we've got Matt Philbin from the Media Research Center coming on, and so that's our next hour. And because it's Christmas time, I'm going to ask Gina if we can have a little Christmas song leading us up to news. Gina, Mrs. Claus, actually, would you please take it? We'll be back in 6. Sorry. Had a little accident here. My bells just hit the floor. Anyway, good morning, everybody. I'm Zeb Bell at Zeb at the Ranch, and we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. Dadgum, I broke my bell. And also some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Way Services.
Locally owned Western Way Services, always at your disposal. I'll tell you what, the best service in the world for residential and commercial needs, and we've been on the route service for a long time right here at Murtaugh. They do a wonderful job. And by the way, don't forget the dumpsters in various sizes to clean out the basement, the garage, whatever. They're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, 734-6969. You give them a call today. Also, one of our great sponsors that helps us so much during Lunch Bunch with some of the gift cards, etc., and they're just really nice people serving the whole community. That's Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward. He and his family and staff are absolutely outstanding with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity, serving your families when they're the passing of a loved one. They are there to help. Please, they believe that every life is worth remembering, and they will help you at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Hanson Mortuary, number to call, 436-5636. We have a guest with us on the program for this half hour, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. I also want to remind you again, first thing in the morning when we get on the air, we have a weather forecast that's brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, and they're located at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. And we always have the tagline, look look for their blue door. Well, they do a wonderful job, Kyle and Whitney Cheney, and carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor. Oh, man, you got to get in there and see how they've got it decorated for Christmas. Whatever you need to make your house a home. And they've got a lot of newly refurbished furniture, too, at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Yep, look for the blue door. Right now, with us on the program this morning, we have a lady by the name of Lynn Porter. And Lynn, good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
It's so nice to have you on the program. And I think it was a couple of months ago, help me, Lynn, I'm getting old, you had sent me an email in regards to possibly coming on the program, and then I ran into you last week over at Valleywide Home and Ranch. Basically, what is it that you do that the reason we're having you on the program this morning?
I assist law enforcement with cold cases, and I do forensic archaeology. And I also help with historic grave locations.
Wow, that's quite a bit on your plate to discuss here right now. Let's talk a little bit about the first one first, cold case assistance. What do you do and how do you offer your services to police departments on cold cases?
I work with and without my cadaver dog, Beretta. My services are offered for free. I work as a volunteer to any law enforcement agency that might need me. Mm-hmm. And we do a lot of field work looking for human remains. And I also have gone through case files and given it a fresh set of eyes so that maybe I can pick up something that they did not. We also do forensic archaeology and locate additional evidence where remains have been found previously.
All right, let's talk a little bit about this. Where did you get your training or knowledge on how to do this?
I started in search and rescue in 1988 and then started working a search and rescue dog in 1991. There's always cases that we could not find the individual. And having a number of those cases really bothered me. So that's probably pretty much why I started doing this. It's my passion. I have training through Iowa State University in archaeology and through College of Southern Idaho in criminal justice, as well as going to several different seminars with and without my dog.
Now, talk a little bit about what you actually do. What is an average day in the life of Lynn Porter when you're basically on the crime scene? What do you do and how do you do it?
When I'm on the crime scene, either I'm setting up for an archaeology dig, and that is, we set up a grid over top of where human remains have been found so that we might be able to find additional evidence. On one case, we were actually able to find a small flat stone that had a fingerprint on it, and that was found about 6 inches down in the dirt. Mm-hmm. Other cases, I utilize my cadaver dog, and we set up an area, and Beretta is very good at finding human remains from fresh or recently deceased clear to bones that are 200 or 300 years old.
Okay, now I'm going to stop you right there because I have a question that I think a lot of people are asking. How do you train a dog to do this type of thing?
We do have to use actual human remains. Mm-hmm. And we do it with a very positive reward system and very small steps. First, letting the dog sniff that bone, mm-hmm. and then we start shaping the behavior into it. When it smells that, we want the dog to sit or lie down and get that consistent. Then we start putting the human remains, whatever we're using, a little further away and a little bit harder hidden so that the dog has to use their nose and find it.
All right, now let me.
The dog's rewarded with play.
Okay, now, Lynn, I would imagine that this is not an overnight success in training one of these dogs, and once you have the dog trained, they're worth a boodle of money. How long does it take to get a dog that you can rely on?
We figure to get basic training is going to take about 216 hours.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you divide that into 4 hours a week, that's about 1 to 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then industry standard is 4 hours a week for maintenance training.
Now, forensic archaeology, this is kind of I was interested in this when I was in college, the digging and learning more about the past. Now, what can you do with your dog, and how can you be of assistance to police forces, etc., like this?
We were active. We were a part of the team on the Noreen Boyd case, and we were able to identify her remains in the field.
Uh-huh.
That was a very big case for us. We have gone through caves and looked for other missing persons, and I've even assisted a family in relocating an infant's grave where the infant had been buried around the turn of the century, and the family wanted that infant reinterred in the family plot.
Oh, my. Now, it also says on my cheat sheet here that historic grave location with your dog, and especially in this area of the West, right on the Oregon Trail, I'll bet you that a lot of what you could do would be great for the Historical Register and Record, would it not?
Yes, I have worked on the Oregon Trail with the Oregon Trail Association. Also, I have a project right here in Minidoka County. The Minidoka City Cemetery has been lost over time, shall we say. There's only one marker remaining out there, and local legend is that there were 40 to 50 people buried on that piece of land.
Oh, my.
So we are working with the city of Minidoka to try to rediscover where those graves are. We won't be disturbing them, but we will be marking them, and that cemetery will be a part of the city again.
Okay, now, the question that keeps coming up is, Lynn, you stressed to me that you are a volunteer. And in this day and age, volunteerism is great, and I try to volunteer as much as I can of my time and efforts, but boy, pretty soon you got to pay the piper and have some kind of income coming in on the bottom line. What about your situation?
It can be very tough. An organization called East Idaho Cold Cases Incorporated assisted me to go to a training in May that I wouldn't have otherwise been able to go to. You're right, expenses are difficult, and trying to work a full-time job as well, it can be trying at times.
Are there, depending upon the area and location and states and police departments, etc., and their investigators, their detectives, etc., I would imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there is almost uncountable cold cases in every state of the United States, right or wrong?
Oh, that's very correct. 80 to 90,000 people are missing in the United States at any given time.
Oh, my.
In just eastern and central Idaho, we have over 40 cold case missing persons. That doesn't include anyone who's gone missing in 2014.
Okay. Now, what is the procedure that you follow, Lynn, as far as possibly getting involved with working with the police? What do you do?
I do as much background on these cases as I can, and at times approach the police or the sheriff's office to see if they would like to have me go out and do some field work for them or with them.
Okay.
Or they find out about me and they contact me as well. It can go either way.
Let me ask you this, and don't mention any names of cases, etc., which I'm sure you wouldn't, but what has been the most rewarding and gratifying experience you've had working on a cold case?
Finding those human remains. Being able to not give a family closure, we don't like to use that word, but letting them know where their loved one is. I can't imagine going through the holidays and not knowing where a member of my family is year after year after year.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm sure that everybody wants to know about historic graveyards, Indian lore, etc. Do you do possibly some work with the various Indian tribes around the United States?
I have worked with one tribe at this point, and that was on a hot case. It wasn't on a cold case, but that is very possible to do. When I was in Western Carolina, in May, we worked bones that were 850 years old.
Oh, my. What do you do to prepare for the study of a case? I mean, I hate to sound naive, but I've never had anybody on my program that does this type of thing. Do you ask for all the pertinent information, and do you kind of study and pore over all the facts of the case and try to learn as much as you can and then go out in the field? Tell me what you do.
Sometimes I do. Try to find out all the facts. Other times, you might not want to know quite so much, so you're not slanted one way or the other. Sometimes it's better just to let the dog work and see where it leads rather than having someone tell you, oh, it's over here, and having your dog go the other way.
Do you, when you're out on a cold case, being an assistant, do you take along law enforcement officers with you, or do you work primarily alone with your dog?
I can do it either way. I prefer to have law enforcement with me. There are times when it can get dangerous. I have been watched by persons of interest while I was working on a case.
So, in other words...
So, alone, I'll always take at least one person with me.
I see. So, basically, your job as a volunteer, even though you love this work, it can be very stressful and possibly dangerous because of the case that you're investigating.
That's true.
Okay. Now, the dog himself, how long can you depend on this dog? I mean, we all get old and all of our senses sometimes diminish. Do you have another dog in training?
Not at this time, but I'm starting to think about it. Beretta will be 5 in April, but she's a border collie, so I'm sure that we've got quite a few more years with her. My shepherd worked until she was 11.
Uh-huh. And what about the future for you? I mean, you must really enjoy, and I underline that word, helping other people, especially law enforcement. Have they ever said no to you, that they didn't want you involved, or do they kind of welcome your expertise with open arms?
Mostly I'm welcomed. There are times when they would rather do it themselves. But most of the time, yes, they do welcome me.
You know, it's got to be a little eerie to be out there. It's got to be a little eerie to read the case points in the file and know that the person's demise might have been with devilish means. Did you ever get the heebie-jeebies so that you didn't want to get involved in a certain case?
No, I haven't.
And without again mentioning names, what's the most weird case that you've ever got involved in?
I have one that the remains were actually mummified and found in a cave.
Oh my goodness. Now, was that due to the dog finding it, or did you use your expertise? How did you go about finding the remains for that case?
In that case, the remains had been found previously. I did run my dog through the cave, and my dog identified the two areas where remains had been found previously. But I did the workup on the remains when they were at ISU, and like Bones would do on her show.
Mm-hmm.
And identified all the bones and made sure they were all in order and looked for damage on the bones and things like that.
Lynn, are there last...
I also got to read the case file on that one and put it together and present it to the sheriff.
I see. Now, to get your education for this type of thing, what courses did you have to take in college to learn how to do this?
I took anthropology classes at Idaho State University and concentrated on forensic type classes, and also did a few independent study classes so I could kind of build my own course on it.
Okay.
One of those was in forensic archaeology, and another was an internship with the coroner.
I would imagine that this is an ongoing education to where you just can't learn everything and sit back on your laurels, can you?
Correct.
One final thought here, Lynn. What about the future? I mean, are you planning on expanding this and trying to do more in the future? Give us kind of a thumbnail sketch as to a day in the life of Lynn Porter. What do you do every day?
I do a lot of computer work, keeping up on the different cases. Have to keep up my regular job, of course, and looking forward towards retirement so that I can spend more time doing this and less time working. But, I have to keep that roof over my head.
So this...
Of course, training Beretta has to be a part of every week, too.
So this is really a passion and a life's work for you that absolutely your real job. By the way, what is your real job for my audience to know?
I work with children with behavioral problems.
I see. Well, I want to tell you how interesting it has been to have you on the program. I have never had anyone on my show that works with cold case assistance and forensic archaeology. You're an amazing lady and very interesting, and I'll probably very definitely give you a call to your number again and have you back on the air in the future. Thank you so much for sharing with us this morning.
Not a problem. I've enjoyed it, too.
Thank you, Lynn. Appreciate it. Her name is Lynn Porter, and she works on cold case assistance with cold cases that absolutely have met dead ends, and she tries to help solve those crimes. And also, she is a forensic archaeologist, and very interesting lady right there. I appreciate having her on the air. Okay, let's pay some bills. Let's have some Merry Christmas wishes, shall we? How about Merry Christmas from the Sprinkler Shop in Paul Jerome Buell and Kimberly Road? That's right, the Sprinkler Shop, offering all your irrigation needs since way back in the 1970s. Absolutely great quality staff, reliable products, and they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas from the Sprinkler Shop. Along with our friends at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. They've got everything right there at A Child's World for the family, all the clothing, all the toys, all the games, and free gift wrapping and layaway. Mention my name and you get 25% off any item. That's right, Zeb Bell sent me 25% off like that. Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And also the bookstore and more at 515 5th Street in Rupert. Becky and the whole crew over there, they make the most delicious fudge. If you don't do anything today, stop in at the bookstore and have some of that fudge. Ooh, it's good. All kinds of different flavors. And, of course, all the books and the Christmas cards and the home decor items at the bookstore and more on the square in Rupert. Really nice people wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Oh, busy time of the day. And before we go any further, we've got another guest coming on in just a couple of minutes. I want to remind you about Let's Ride. Now, if you haven't been over to Let's Ride lately, and I love going in there because on that showroom floor, I don't know how they cram everything in there. All the snowmobiles, all the ATVs, all the motorcycles, and all the equipment. I mean, it is the place where the fun is sold. You're going to love going in there. And they've got a great accessory department and all the clothing for motorcycle riding, ATVs, and snowmobiles. And don't forget, talking about snowmobiles, they got the brand spanking new 2015 Yamaha snowmobiles. Something for everybody at Let's Ride. Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. You stop in. Like I said, Let's Ride. Definitely where the fun is sold. Really good, folks. Also, real fast, before we have our guests come on the air this morning, I want to remind you, too, about our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. I tell you what, they are just so professional, and they're so geared towards taking care of you with excellent service work. Dean Cameron, Todd Siemens at Cameron Siemens Insurance, the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, and, of course, employee benefits. They know, and they're located on Highway 24 in Rupert. Number to call for an appointment, do it today, 436-4424. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance wishing you and yours a Merry, Merry Christmas. Let's go to the phone lines right now, and I believe we have the managing editor of MRC Culture, and that's Matt Philbin. And we have not talked to Matt for a long time. Where you been hiding yourself, Mr. Philbin?
Right here in the office, unfortunately.
Well, for heaven's sakes, you got to get out and see the world, and get on Route 66 and come out and see us or something.
I'd love to.
All right. Matt, what is going on with the story this morning in regards to one of the nemesis I have on this program, and that's Planned Parenthood? Give us a little background on what we're going to talk about.
Oh, there was an interesting interview lately in Cosmopolitan magazine that the feminist political writer Jill Filipovic interviewed Cecile Richards, the president of Planned Parenthood, and she basically laid out their plans for the year in terms of political action. And basically, Planned Parenthood doesn't want any more pro-lifers to be elected in this country. And they apparently have a plan to make that happen.
Are they ego-centered enough that they can honestly say that they're going to be the stumbling block for anybody that believes in right to life?
Well, what they're saying is, and here's the exact quote, she says, "We clearly want to move the needle away from the idea that these issues are partisan, because I don't believe they are," she says. "And we want to make it completely unacceptable to run for office as someone who opposes women's rights or wants to take us backward." That is the basic attitude from Cecile Richards. And, yeah, they do want to make it... look, they are failing. Pro-life has never been so strong in this country. Science with ultrasounds and the understanding of when life begins, of the fetal development in the womb, has made it very clear to a lot of people who normally wouldn't have thought this way, that children are, that these are human lives in the womb. And that is hurting the pro-choice group in inestimable ways. Mm-hmm. And pro-life has never been more strong in this country. They are desperate to find something that works. And so they're changing their messaging, they're changing their stance, they are coming out and calling abortion a positive moral good. So this is all, you're going to see this a lot coming up. A lot of different talk coming from the pro-choice side.
All right, now, Matt, one of the culprits and insidious culprits of this pro-abortion stance has been the president himself. And Obama has been very factual about supporting Planned Parenthood, and I find him to be a very evil and sinister person against the right to life in this country. Has any of his views changed over the last 6 years?
No, I don't believe they have at all. Look, he voted for some evil stuff when he was in the Illinois Senate, and he's never backed off that. He's never apologized for his rabidly pro-abortion stance. I think it was this year he ended a speech to Planned Parenthood saying, "God bless Planned Parenthood." Mm-hmm. So, no, he is foursquare for them, and nothing has changed his approach. Unlike his phony stance on gay marriage, he never pretended to be anything other than a pro-abortion candidate.
You know, the last line of this little cheat sheet story that was sent to me about Planned Parenthood and also what was said by Cecile Richards, it really got me, and it just raised my German temper to, on a 1 to 10 scale on the needle, about a 37. It says, like Planned Parenthood, Cosmopolitan plans to wipe out pro-life candidates. You know, that statement alone infuriates me, that anybody with any moral attitude in this country, the liberal left, the insidious liberal left, is going to go after them and destroy their lives.
Well, yeah, that's true. I think in Cosmo's case, what they were really talking about, Cosmo was vetting candidates in the run-up to the midterms, telling women who they should vote for. Those candidates were always left-wing, pro-abortion, feminist predisposed candidates. And Cosmo, and they pulled stunts where they were taking, they would have Chippendales dancers come and drive campus women to the polls on election day. It's a whole thing. It's this whole sort of feminist, voting with our body parts idea that is very prevalent right now on the feminist left, and abortion is central to it, and sort of sexual liberation is central to it. And unfortunately, it seems to appeal to a lot of women.
Mm-hmm. How much money, Matt, on an average year over the last 6 years that Obama's been president, how much money does Planned Parenthood get of our tax dollars to stay in existence?
Oh, boy. They get a tremendous amount of money. Offhand, I cannot think of it, but it's something like 300. Oh, you got me, Zeb.
Well, I think it's an enormous number, up into the millions, of my money and your money going to contribute to infanticide, and I want it stopped. But I don't see it. I'm going to put some blame on the right.
In my town here in Fairfax, Virginia, the only abortion clinic in town closed because of state law. Things are looking up, and they are very good on a state-by-state basis. We get into trouble when we get to the federal level because you cannot, you've got a lot of hard lefties in Congress and, frankly, on the federal bench. So I personally don't see abortion being a huge national issue going into 2016.
I want to get back, and we only got a couple of minutes left here, Matt, but I want to get back into the statement about wiping out pro-life candidates or having it unacceptable for someone who opposes women's rights, the way they phrased it, to run for office. That almost sounds like a communistic dictatorship country instead of the United States of America, where we have the First Amendment and freedom of thought and speech.
Well, yeah, and this is, but this is how the left operates. They try to make things, you take a reasonable position, and they change the argument, and all of a sudden, what was a reasonable position for years, for decades, for centuries, is now out of bounds. Look at it with the gay marriage debate, gay rights. 5,000 years of civilization is suddenly verboten. It's a fascinating tactic that they have. They're very successful with it. In this instance, it's not going to work. But I do think that it's, as a tactic, you can see this all across the left.
You bring up an excellent point, and I'm not going to preach to you, but I am going to say this. The Bible has warned us about this all through its many, many years, and what is right is now going to become wrong. And you bring up the gays' rights issue. 5,000 years, and it was just not right. It wasn't acceptable. It's not proper for human beings to live that way. And then all of a sudden, the gays and lesbians got together and said they're going to change it, and they're going to flip-flop it and make all of us live in fear because now they're coming after us. I'm not going to change my attitude, Matt. Never. For a newly found so-called civilization, I'm going to remain the way I am and the way I was born and raised, and I'm going to fight these people.
Well, hopefully you can do that you can continue to do that. It seems that there's a lot of things you can't do anymore, and freedom of association is right out the window. We've seen people, forced to, perform gay weddings or host gay weddings, bake gay wedding cakes. It's a very awful situation.
Yeah, but the thing is, Matt, it doesn't make any difference right or wrong. We have a constitution. We have a value system in this country, and we've lost that value system. We have lost the right to really be citizens of this country the way it was designed, and we're letting the liberal left take our rights away and our freedoms away, and you know what? It's our fault, yours and mine. We haven't stood up and fought back.
That's true. You are right to a degree, but I think you also have to talk about the media. Look, the media controls what's talked about in this country, and the media is, with very few exceptions, largely left-wing. They buy into all this stuff. They are true believers. And unfortunately, that sets the terms of the debate. They are happy to carry water for the left, be it the social left or the economic left, and that sets the terms of the debate. And I think until the media is, to a large degree, neutralized and ignored, we're going to keep losing.
You said that, and I want you to elaborate on that just for a second. Until the media is neutralized and ignored. Now, I look at it differently. I think the media should be enhancing the situation. The media should be looking at what's going on with these stories, like Planned Parenthood. They should be looking at what's happening with gays' rights, and they should be looking at what's happening with the economy. They should be looking at what Obama's doing to our military to basically bring it down to just a thumb sketch of what it needs to be. They should be looking at this and inquiring and asking questions, but I'll tell you what, they're too cowardly.
Well, you're absolutely right. Or they're sympathetic to the other side. And what they should be doing is far different from what they've been doing for decades now. Journalism is dead. You look at the people they're churning out of journalism schools now. They all have one mindset. They've all been taught by liberals. They've all absorbed the liberal philosophy. They all think that they are activists first and reporters second. And it's a troubling situation, and until somehow, I believe that if you stop listening to the media, you're better off. Certainly you're a saner person, but they need to be neutralized, and that's why shows like yours, social media, the explosion of news outlets on the internet, is the best hope conservatives have for continuing to thrive.
Yeah, but Matt, there's one final point here. You take the case of that New York professor, 29 years of age and dumber than a box of rocks, standing up on a bridge and going to drop a trash can on traffic and having a bag full of hammers that he could pass out to bludgeon police. This man inciting trouble, possibly even inciting death. Why? This is the greatest country in the world with the most opportunities availed to anybody in this country, but yet we have those that are not even dry behind the ears, that are so stupid, they are so lazy, they won't get off the couch and say to themselves, this is a land of opportunity, all I've got to do is get up and work for it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And there are professional malcontents out there. If you're a professor from Baruch College, there's a good chance that you're at least a semi-professional malcontent. And it's a sad thing, but there is an institutionalized sort of anti-Americanism and dissent in this country and it's dissent against supposedly against power, but look who's in power.
Yeah.
Look who runs the Justice Department. Look who runs, the U.S. government.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of their own. And so more than anything else, that tells me that this is what these people do. Professional protesters, professional malcontents.
Matt, we could go on and on. I've always enjoyed having you on my program. Good to have you back. I want to extend to you a very Merry Christmas. Matt Philbin, the managing editor of MRC Culture. God bless you, man, and have a great Christmas season.
You too, Zeb. Great talking to you.
All right. Thank you much. Good guy, Matt Philbin, and enjoyed having him on the program this morning. Oh, I got to pay some bills. Holy smokes. Let's talk about Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Santa Claus is coming to town. You better get over to Santa's favorite place to shop, and that's Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Oh, recliners. Oh, dining room sets. Oh, my goodness. Excellent for the family to gather around and have Christmas dinner. And, you need a good night's sleep. They've got all the queen mattresses and the bedroom sets and the king mattresses. They've got mattresses, and all the accessories for your home to beautify and comfort your home. I'm telling you, folks, this place is the place for the biggest savings, the best values on everything for your home at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see these really nice people today at Lee's Furniture. Also, real quick, I understand my good buddy Lucky Bourne is now he is the main man over at Wiltran Incorporated, and they are looking for some over-the-road driving positions available, and they require at Wiltran 2 years driving experience before you put your application in. And they have a sign-on bonus available, load and unload pay, electronic logs, drivers are paid weekly, and all you have to do is contact Lucky Bourne at 529 E Street in Rupert, or call him on the landline. Here's the number, 639-6411. 639-6411. And again, they require 2 years driving experience at Wiltran. Excellent job, excellent driving position. All you have to do is contact Lucky Bourne, 639-6411. Okay? Take care of that today. Let's see, I got, we got a weather forecast. Holy buckets. Gina's sitting over there going, are you going to shut up and do the weather? Yes, I am. And I'm going to tell you the weather is brought to you this hour by Urgent Care of Jerome, 133 West Avenue A, Suite B in Jerome. The number to call, and they will see you today, 324-2004, 324-2004. Minor emergencies, but they give you major care at Urgent Care of Jerome. Here now is Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers is at the ranch. In the weather for today, you've got a slight chance of rain and snow. This should kick in about 11 o'clock this morning. Otherwise, our weather story turns out to be a weather system where it could be a lot worse than what I just gave you. But other than that, you'll come out of it. Tomorrow's going to be a nice day, partly sunny, high 43. Temperature's still going to be in the 40s for the daytime high, and mid-upper 20s for the overnight low. Enjoy the weather. Still know weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. And don't forget, Urgent Care of Jerome. Wonderful business, and I'll tell you what, they can take care of all your ear infections, sprains, strains, and fractures, injuries due to accidents, lower cost, convenient hours, no appointments necessary. Please call them today at 324-2004. Urgent Care of Jerome, 133 West Avenue A, Suite B in Jerome, serving you. Minor emergencies, major care. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm doing this next commercial, give me a call. I'd like to hear your thoughts about so far what we've talked about this morning on the program. So the number, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Also want to remind you about Whipple's Book Plaza with Colonel Dale. Hello, Colonel Dale, since 1945. Holy smokes, they've got a brand new 50% off department at Whipple's Book Plaza. 3 floors of books, thousands and thousands and thousands of books, and jewelry. And don't forget they've got a new children's book department and expanded music department too. Oh my! Great Christmas gift giving ideas at Whipple's Book Plaza, 222 West 11th Street in Burley. Gina over at our other studio, and we haven't had a chance to say good morning to her hardly at all this morning. Good morning, the lovely Miss Gina.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Zabel.
Did you have that power bump too?
No.
You didn't even know I was off? Holy smokes, I pulled a fast one on you.
Until you said something.
Oh, I shouldn't have said anything.
Uh-huh.
But we were off for about maybe 5 seconds.
Yeah, no, we didn't get any power bump here.
You know, and I gotta tell you, I'm getting so good at weathering the storm in a major crisis. My lovely bride jumped in and turned on the computer on the bottom of the desk, and then we got everything set up, and we were back on, and nobody was the wiser.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Don't get smart. Did you do any Christmas shopping yesterday?
I did.
Oh.
I did. I got some Christmas shopping done yesterday. The only person I left that I really have to buy for is my son.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And he should be the easiest one to buy for.
Oh, he is the easiest one to buy for. It's just not having him around so I can shop.
When you were his age, I bet your parents absolutely, they went and got dolls and doll houses and all kinds of little frilly girl stuffs, right? No?
No. Heck no. I got coloring books. I got...
you probably got a Popular Mechanics book.
You know what? I honestly played a lot outside, cars and trucks, and I was kind of more like a tomboy.
Really?
Yeah. I got stuffed animals, if that counts, and I would get board games and card games.
B-O-A-R-D or B-O-R-E-D?
Both.
No.
Yeah, both.
What is if you were to have a party at your house, and we were thinking about this the other night with some really good friends of ours, a board game, what is a good board game to try to play for adults? I mean, I used to play a lot of Monopoly and that type of thing.
Trivial Pursuit is really good.
Okay.
Pictionary.
Never played that.
Yeah, actually, Pictionary is rather fun.
Okay.
Yeah. What are some other... I like quiz games.
Oh, really?
Teasers. Yeah, things like that. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and ask me a quiz. Go ahead and ask me a brain teaser. Go ahead. Go ahead. Do it.
I'm too tired to even... I can't. My brain is dead today.
I will ask you a question. Okay. And if you answer it correctly, I will take you to lunch with my lovely bride, Deanne.
Okay.
Okay. Of these 3 actors, which one had a recording contract for a music album?
Okay.
Michael Landon from Bonanza.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it Chuck Connors, star of The Rifleman?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it the villain, the bad guy, Jack Palance?
Michael Landon.
No.
Really?
No. It's hard to imagine this guy could sing, but it was Jack Palance.
Really?
Yes.
I know that Michael Landon did have some albums out there, didn't he?
As far as I know, no, but whatchamacallit that played Ben Cartwright, he did. He had a couple of award-winning songs. Remember Ringo?
Yes.
Yeah, he had that one. But Jack Palance, back in the 60s, had an album out, and he used to sing, believe this or not, he used to sing on the television show Porter Wagner and Dolly Parton.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it blew my mind.
No.
Yeah.
I figured it was Michael Landon.
And one of his top songs that he had was The Green, Green Grass of Home on his album. And believe me, I heard Jack sing, and it wasn't that big a selling album.
But people, you know, they get out there and they try.
Yeah.
And they try.
We ought to record an album.
You think so?
On a hill far, far away.
Oh, very much so. Yes, people really don't want to hear me sing all that. I love to karaoke, but I'm not a professional.
I bet you're good. Hey, listen, I got to scoot. Dr. History's coming up in 6 minutes. God bless, and we'll be right back. Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas! Ho, ho, ho! I broke the string on my bell and it doesn't jingle like it should jangle or whatever. We're going to have Dr. History here in just a little bit. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, along with some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Oberlin and Burley, and our friends at Western Way Services, always at your disposal, 734-6969. Don't forget Gary Shorsman. Oh, what a wonderful man, great author, fantastic books for the history buff, like Stringtown, Riverton, A Window into the Past, City of Hayburn, Our Past May Surprise You, Story About a Sequel. Many, many books are on sale right now at the bookstore on the square in Rupert and the Minidoka County Museum. Gary Shorsman is excellent as a historical writer of our area. Great keepsakes for generations to come. You stop in and check these out for great Christmas gift-giving ideas right now today. Also, I'm hungry. I tell you, you get to be about this time of the morning and you've had a bowl of cereal at 4 o'clock in the morning, and here it is now, 10 o'clock, and yours truly is hungry. Well, today they're going to have shepherd's pie served with veggies and super salad at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Oh, that sounds good. Shepherd's pie. Going to be good. Always is. Great menu selections and great specials at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Let's take a look, see what else we got to talk about here real quick. I've lost my paper here. And then we're going to go to a gentleman that is absolutely one of my best friends on this program, been here for a long, long time. And that, of course, is a man that stands about 6'5", weighs close to 300 pounds, Dr. History. Good morning, sir.
That's 6'8" and 150. Thank you.
Condensed. How are you?
Great.
And Merry Christmas.
Well, Merry Christmas to you, Zeb.
And I'm sure you've done all your Christmas shopping. You're way ahead of all of us other males that put things off.
I have. I've got my wife's Christmas stuff, and that's all I need to do.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, by the way, the best to your wife. I understand she's had a kind of broken arm that's causing problems.
She has. She's doing better, but it's a slow healing process, but she is doing better. Yeah. We got out yesterday for a little while.
Well, if she wouldn't have led with that right hook and then followed with that left cross when she was trying to nail you, she'd be all right.
She'd been all right.
Okay. What are you going to talk about today?
Well, first of all, Zeb, do you know any Chinese?
I do.
Do you know how to say hello?
Evidently not. Oh, you mean Chinese like the language?
Right.
I thought you meant like Chinese people.
Oh, no.
You weren't very...
specific.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to teach you how to say hello.
I can't wait.
Ni hao.
Ni hao.
Ni hao.
Ni hao.
And that's the only word I'm going to tell you right now.
How's your knee? Well, mine's not too
Not
bad.
so good.
Yeah.
So that's for our students in Beijing. Ni hao.
Beijing. Ni hao, China.
Yes. So
I
today...
hope we didn't sever relations.
I hope we're all right.
Okay.
So today I like this story because a lot of this is taken actually from the journal of the person that we're going to be talking about.
Really?
Yeah.
So it should be fairly close to true.
Fairly accurate. So I like this, and I call this The Nun and the Outlaw.
The
story.
Nun and the Outlaw.
Yeah.
Okay, now about 5 minutes or so, I'll take a break and do some commercials.
Okay,
How's that?
sounds good.
Good.
Now, I want you to picture, if you can, Sister Blandina as she stood over the pale, bullet-ridden body of a young gunman and mopped the sweat off his brow with a white cloth. He smiled up at her, then turned his attention to the outlaws surrounding his bed.
Oh, really?
The renegade stared back at him quietly, all wearing a pretty grave expression that reflected the severity of his physical condition.
He was shot.
He was shot.
Yeah.
Sister Blandina's eyes shifted from the injured youth to the teenage boy standing next to him. Teenage outlaw Billy the Kid.
Oh, look out. William Bonney.
Yes. Well, he nodded politely to the nun, and he said, "We are glad to see you, sister, and I want to say it would give me pleasure to be able to do you any favor." Now, remember that, because that's going to come back in the story here in a little bit.
You got me hanging by my
All right.
fingernails.
Okay. Well, for more than a month, Sister Blandina had been caring for the wounded member of Billy the Kid's gang, known only as Happy Jack. Now, after being shot in the thigh, he'd been dumped in an abandoned adobe hut near Trinidad, Colorado, and left for dead. Now, a boy from the school where Sister Blandina taught had found him and brought her to the location for help. So, in addition to fresh bandages and water, she had furnished the hurt desperado with food and linens. She tended to his spiritual as well as physical needs, and for that, she was rewarded with an audience with Happy Jack's partner in crime, Billy the Kid.
Billy the Kid.
And here's what she said, and again, I like this because it quotes her. She says, "He has steel blue eyes and a peach complexion."
Peach.
She recalled in her journal, "One would take him to be 17, innocent looking, save for the corners of his eyes, which tell a set purpose, good or bad."
Good thing you didn't look like a Granny Smith apple.
No. And again, we're going to get back to this, so, Billy. But the purpose Sister Blandina had learned for one of Billy's upcoming raids was definitely a bad thing. According to Happy Jack, the gang was going to kill the 4 doctors living in the area who'd refused to call on the gunshot gang member.
Uh-oh. So Happy Jack's the one that's shot.
He's the one that's laying there.
Happy wasn't happy.
He wasn't happy, and neither was Billy the Kid's gang.
No.
And they were going to go kill those other doctors.
Yeah.
So she was thinking of those men when she talked to Billy. And she said, "Yes, there is a favor you can grant me," she said. He reached his hand toward me, she said. "The favor is granted," Billy the Kid promised. Well, she went on to say, "I took the hand saying, I understand you have come to scalp our Trinidad physicians, which act I ask you to cancel."
Scalp them?
Kill them.
I didn't.
Scalp them.
Man, I didn't know they were Apaches.
She said scalp. I'm assuming kill, you know. Well, after a quick moment contemplating the request, Billy said, "I granted the favor before I knew what it was, and it stands. Not only that, sister," he continued, "but at any time my pals and I can serve you, you will find us ready." And that's going to come back a little later in the story.
Here you go with another cliffhanger.
That's right. So Sister Blandina thanked him and left the room. So anyway, when Sister Blandina was first called to Trinidad, she believed that the mining town was located in Cuba. It wasn't until she boarded the stage in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Cuba, like across the water with Castro?
Right. She thought that's where she was headed.
Holy smokes.
But anyway, she got on the stage, and she had attended the St. Vincent Academy and taken her holy vows that she learned was bound for the territory of Colorado. Well, her desire to live and work on the wild frontier was realized this is in 1872. So, her name, actually, she was born Rosa Maria Segali, born in 1850 in Italy. She came to America with her parents and 3 other siblings. When she was 4 years old, the family settled in Cincinnati, where several of their other countrymen had made their home. Well, she wasn't able to speak English, which was somewhat of a barrier. Her parents arranged for their children to have English lessons, and after finishing school and completing several music and Spanish language courses, Rosa entered a convent, and once she had taken her final vows, she was given the name Sister Blandina.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to take a break right here?
I think I will. And we'll jump in here, and we want to tell everybody about our friends at A Child's World, and they are one of our great sponsors of school days in Cassia County every Thursday. A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. Now 20% off on everything in the store. Holy cow, they wish you a very Merry Christmas. Stop in and check out all the clothing and all the games, everything for the family at A Child's World, 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley. And don't forget to Ambulatory Surgery Center. If you have met your insurance deductible and you need to schedule surgeries like hand surgeries, arthroscopic knee surgery, colonoscopies, call them at the Ambulatory Surgery Center, 677-8888, 677-8888, 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. And Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World bringing you school days in Cassia County. And now, back to... What was that, Sister Blandini?
Sister Blandina.
Oh, Blandina, yeah, I'm sorry.
All right.
Okay.
Well, before Sister Blandina began her long journey alone to Trinidad, she was made aware of the trouble she might encounter along the way and how best to protect herself. Sister, you may be snowbound while on the plains, 2 well-meaning frontiersmen staying in Ohio explained to her. Travelers are sometimes snowbound for 2 weeks, and you are alone. This, though, is not the greatest danger to you. Your real danger is from the cowboys. No virtuous woman is safe near a cowboy.
Oh, no, well, I take offense at that.
I knew you would.
And you're somewhat of a cowboy yourself. You know, we always tip our hats and be very polite and everything. I don't think that statement was fair.
I don't either. And I read that, and I knew I would get a reaction.
Yeah. And look at my bride is even mad because she knows that cowboys are gentlemen.
They are. They are. You just watch them. I love cowboys. So, anyway.
You better be careful how you say that.
You're right there. I like cowboys.
There you go, Doc.
And cowgirls.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, she wrote in her journal, she said, when I showed no signs of reconsidering the venture, both men gave up trying to make me understand what they considered dangerous. So the fearless, determined nun arrived at her Colorado destination in 1872. She was greeted warmly by the other sisters living at the Trinidad convent and learned all about the school where she would be working. So she spent some time reviewing her Spanish. She says, I went to look at the school. It was about 40 feet long, 14 feet wide, 8 feet high, 2 small windows, solid adobe on 2 sides. Now, Sister Blandina's first class consisted of a number of pupils older than the average student, which wasn't unusual in that day. But anyway, the feisty 15 and 16-year-old boys were a little mischievous. I can't imagine.
Imagine that.
And they started out the first day by attempting to play a joke on the new teacher. So, speaking only in Spanish, they made plans to not return to class after recess. Well, they didn't know Sister Blandina overheard the boys and knew Spanish. So the fact that she spoke the language and stood up to them earned her instant respect. She had their full attention for the rest of the day. So, anyway, the majority of the day centered around addition and subtraction, reading, writing, geography, history, and, of course, the Catholic religion. And class time was periodically disrupted by attacks from the area Ute Indians, who were trying to drive out everyone who was not Mexican. Well, the Utes allied themselves with the Mexican people because they did not perceive them as a threat to their way of life. Now, Sister Blandina realized that changes had to be made to this school, which was growing, and the primitive building had many other uses when school was not in session. It turned out it was a place for the town meeting, a music hall, a place for funerals, etc. But the nuns at the convent were in favor of a new school building, but they didn't have any money. So in less than a month's time, because of her work and dedication, they started a new building, a stone foundation was laid, and a new schoolhouse was built. And this is just the beginning of some of her accomplishments.
Okay.
Now, Sister Blandina's kindness and resourcefulness extended beyond her dedication to teaching. She had a heart for the sick and destitute as well. And there was an absence of course, medical professionals and hospitals in the territory. And Sister Blandina had a knack for nursing. Now, although she had no formal training in the field, she had witnessed wounded soldiers during the Civil War, and her goal was to help build a hospital where Native Americans, orphans, minors, and injured outlaws could receive care. Now, the students knew Sister Blandina's position on helping those in need, and they were not afraid to come to her to ask for assistance. So it was one of her pupils who approached her to lend aid to the wounded member of Billy the Kid's gang, Happy Jack. The student said he's badly hurt and has a very poor chance of living.
He was shot in the thigh.
Thigh, yeah.
Okay.
So not a good place.
No.
And anyway, she said, we shall do all we can for him. And Sister Blandina looked after Happy Jack for 9 months.
Holy smokes.
Before he died.
I hope he had Blue Cross.
Yeah, I hope so. But he did die after 9 months. But, the dedication to care for somebody for 9 months.
Wow.
And knowing that he was an outlaw.
Yeah.
Anyway, in December of 1876, Sister Blandina was transferred from the nunnery in Trinidad to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Well, the stage driver and a reverend assigned to accompany the sister and a fellow nun on her journey were a little apprehensive about the trip because Billy the Kid's gang was quite active at this time. Well, Sister Blandina's previous encounter with Billy led her to believe that there was no need for concern. Well, she arrived in Santa Fe, and she described the room. She said the schoolroom, there was no blackboards, no charts, no maps, no desks, no books, nothing but the teacher and the orphans. There were 2 textbooks, one for the teacher and one for the students. So, and again, they didn't have any money to buy anything. Well, she did what she did best. She contacted some people, and within days, the floors of the building were being repaired, windows installed, blackboards, books, everything she needed. So, anyway, Sister Blandina returned to Trinidad to visit her sister. Now, on her trip back to Santa Fe, news that Billy the Kid was ambushing stagecoaches sent a wave of panic over the stage driver and passengers, and nearly everyone aboard was cleaning and loading revolvers and rifles in anticipation of an assault. Well, sure enough...
Sorry.
Folks, I wish you could watch Zeb. He's chasing a fly around the studio, and I think this fly just met his demise.
I don't know, but I sure ripped up a lot of papers.
You did. A little distracting there, Zeb.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so back to the stagecoach.
Yeah.
Okay, so sure enough, Sister Blandina's on this stagecoach. A number of fast riders from every side caught up with the stage. One rider led the others to the site. Seeing who the man was, Sister Blandina shifted the bonnet on her head so the two could look into each other's eyes, and sure enough, it was Billy the Kid. He recognized her at once, raised his large brimmed hat with a wave and a bow before turning and riding away.
Uh-oh.
So Sister Blandina's time teaching the Santa Fe was rewarding, and she took on more than just educating the class on the basics. She was also a music instructor. Well, in 1878...
Next thing you know, you're going to say she was the leader of the Senate or something. For heaven's sake, she did everything.
We're going to get to a little bit of that, actually. So you're ahead of me. Anyway, in 1878, she was called upon the church to start work on a trade school for young women. And again, there was no money for such an venture, so she simply announced at the next Sunday Mass that the Sisters of Charity wish to build a house where girls in need can be trained in industry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the next day, 12 men arrived at the site for the school. The foundation was set, and the building began soon after that. So anyway, while Sister Blandina was busy teaching and overseeing the building of the schools, hospitals, and orphanages, Billy the Kid was busy terrorizing the countryside. Well, she continued to pray for his soul and that he would have a chance to reconcile his misdeeds with God before he was captured and killed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when he finally met his demise in 1881, she wrote in her journal, "Poor, poor Billy. The kid was shot by Sheriff Patrick F. Garrett of Lincoln County."
Mm-hmm.
That ends the career of one who began his downward course at the age of 12.
Wow.
And that's in her journal.
Really?
Yeah. So, anyway.
Now, stop right there, because her thinking that Pat Garrett had actually killed Billy the Kid is kind of interesting, because even today, as you and I have talked on numerous occasions, there are some discrepancies as to whether or not Pat Garrett had killed Billy the Kid or if he had lived to be an old man.
That's right. And I'm guessing that she just was writing as what was told to her by the local people.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing, too, if she had any other knowledge about that, she may not have written it down.
Yeah, true.
Just a guess.
She befriended him.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So, anyway, in 1881, Sister Blandina was directed to move to Albuquerque, and over the 10-year period she lived there, she helped build 3 schools, including a school for Indians and a mission. She saw the Wild West evolve from an untamed frontier to a civilized country. Now, not everyone welcomed the changes the West was undergoing. Among those who fought the transformation were the Apache Indians, especially Chief Geronimo.
Uh-oh, look out for him.
Yeah. Now, Sister Blandina's journal contained a few entries about Geronimo. Mm-hmm. And she sympathized and empathized with Geronimo and the native Indians, of course, because they were being displaced. So, anyway, it was because of Sister Blandina's sympathy for the Indians that she agreed to teach the Apache women and children in the area to read and write.
Oh, be darned.
And in her journal, she says, "To go to the Apaches would be the height of my earthly happiness." So she was quite an amazing woman.
How old was this lady?
I'm not sure, but I'll tell you how old she was when she died.
That's fair.
That's at the end.
Okay.
Well, Sister Blandina's interest in education extended beyond the students she was assigned to teach. She worked closely with the superintendent and board members of the public schools to improve methods of teaching. So, as I mentioned, almost a little bit of a political activist.
Wow, I guess.
So, well, in 1889, the Catholic Church recalled Sister Blandina to Trinidad. Well, a dispute had erupted between the Colorado School Board and the nuns who taught at the facility. Mm-hmm. The sisters were being asked to lay aside their religious clothing. Okay?
Why?
A habit. Well, that's a good question, but Sister Blandina was called upon to settle this matter. Well, a school board meeting where the matter of the nuns' habits were discussed, meaning their clothing. Mm-hmm. The teachers' qualifications were not being called into question. The school board's position was that anything in a public school that even hinted of religion or sectarianism would bring trouble. So, now this is what I like. Sister Blandina's journal entry began, "The intent of the meeting was to notify me that under no circumstances does the school board want to lose our services, but we ask you to change your mode of dress." And here's what she said.
Oh, boy.
"I looked steadily at the chairman and replied, 'The Constitution of the United States gives me the same privilege to wear this mode of dress as it gives you to wear your trousers. Goodbye.'" She left.
She was a tendency to be a little blunt.
Yeah, she just laid it on the line.
I like that.
Yeah. Sister Blandina returned to Cincinnati, Ohio, and in 1897 worked with children, teaching and assisting attorneys in juvenile cases. She also worked with Italian immigrant children. She and her sister established the Italian Welfare Center.
Oh, she had a sister.
Yeah, there was 4 of them, I believe.
I see.
Yeah. But this helped house the homeless and provide all in need of food and clothing. Well, winter of 1941, she died. She was hospitalized, died in 1941 after celebrating her 91st birthday.
Wow.
91 years old.
91 years old. You know, she died 6 years before I was born. She did.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, and she died just a couple of days before you were born. You're so old.
Hey, I'll never be as old as you.
Okay.
Well, what an amazing woman.
Wow, she did a lot.
She just was amazing, and you know, her attitude towards the Indians, towards Billy the Kid.
There's a movie.
Yeah.
There's a movie. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. Geronimo, Billy the Kid.
She knew them all.
The things she did in her lifetime of 91 years.
Wow.
And I've got a picture of her. I'm going to show you this picture.
Let me see that picture.
You know, not a bad-looking lady.
No, I mean, she looks a lot. You know who she looks like? Angelina Jolie.
She does, actually.
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Yeah, very, a nice-looking lady.
Yeah.
But Sister Blandina Segali.
Holy smokes. See, Deanne, come here. Look, that looks like Angelina Jolie. And my wife, naturally takes the fun out of everything.
Well, sort of.
Anyhow, and that is a true account from her diary.
Yes, yeah, okay. I like that.
You did very well.
Thank you.
Hey, real quick, I am flat out of time. We went a little longer, but next week, Tuesday, you're going to be here at my open house for Christmas, and we're going to do the Christmas story.
Yes, we're going to tell the true story of Christmas from the Bible.
Okay.
And that's one time when we generally don't joke around a lot.
Not at all. To me, that's a very serious but yet a very happy day.
It is. It's great.
And I want to extend the very best to your wife. I hope she feels better. What's your wife's first name?
Angie.
Angie. That's right. I couldn't remember.
Yep.
I hope you feel better, Angie. I know things are tough living with Ken. But anyway, God bless you, and I wish you a very Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank you, Zeb. You have a great Christmas, too.
Have a great day. Thanks, Ken. Dr. History right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Real fast, I want to remind everybody about Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls, with Reese and the rest of the crew. Oh, they got some great Christmas gift-giving ideas, like Kershaw RJ2 assisted opening knife, and they've got all your great clothing. I mean, like the Columbia Men's Cathedral Peak 2 vests. Oh, and the Black River chest pack. They got it all for you right there at Sportsman's Warehouse. You're going to love the store. You're going to love the people at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. My favorite store, Sportsman's Warehouse. You stop in and see them today, and they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. We will be back right after this break with more Zeb at the Ranch.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, I'm running late. I got to hurry. The lovely Gail Trotter's waiting on the other end of the line. I'll be right with her. I want to remind you, Merry Christmas wishes from Searles at 106 North Center in Oakley. Don't forget, they've got the specialty baked buns, fresh every day. Oh, they're delicious. You're going to love them, along with locally grown beef, best burgers and fries in town at Searles in Oakley. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Along with the Golden Valley Warehouse, 468 West, 1000 South of Burley. Don't forget, these are great, great people. The owners and staff want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas from the Golden Valley Warehouse. And Magic Valley Irrigation at 44 East, 500 South of Burley. They have been serving Southern Idaho for over 30 years with all your irrigation needs, and they look you straight in the eye and say thank you and Merry, Merry Christmas. Right now, let's go to the phone lines. And this lady has been on my program numerous times in the past. She's very articulate, and I look forward to having her on with her opinion. Good morning to Attorney Gail Trotter. How are you?
Good morning. Great to be with you.
Gail, you're going to have to forgive me a little bit, but I just in the last 5 minutes finally found the cheat sheet on what we were going to talk about. I lost it. It's my own shortcoming. I'm not very well organized. And I think we're going to be talking about possible Obama taking credit for killing bin Laden and also blaming the CIA for torture. Is that right?
Yes, I wrote an op-ed last week in the Washington Times with the title, Obama Cannot Blame the CIA for, quote, torture, unquote, and simultaneously claim credit for killing Osama bin Laden.
Let me ask you something, Gail, and you've been on my program, like I said, numerous times, and you know I'm a conservative, and you know my feelings on a lot of things, but when it comes right down to this, I've mentioned this on my program ever since 9/11. If the American public had a captive terrorist in their hands, and they knew that a bomb was going to go off at a school, at a church, or a major civic function, I'll guarantee you if their family members were involved, they would do anything and resort to anything to get that information from that terrorist. And I absolutely do not give any blame to the CIA whatsoever. Your thoughts?
We certainly should not blame the CIA because in your example, you're talking about doing anything in order to prevent harm coming to a family member, a community member, an American. But in this situation, we had the Justice Department giving President Bush and his administration the background on the law, what the law allows in terms of interrogations of enemy combatants. And in this situation under the Bush administration, they didn't have a bright line rule, but of the things that they were going to do and that they successfully used to get information to stop many plots and to also find Osama bin Laden and take him out, none of those enhanced interrogation techniques went over the line. And so when we're talking about this, we need to remember that in this situation, we're not even talking about torture. Torture has a specific definition under the federal statute, and the Department of Justice looked at this and they issued memorandums to the Bush administration talking about this. And the most important point to remember about this as well is these enhanced interrogations, which President Obama campaigned against and continues to speak out against, those were the very items that enabled our intelligence department to be able to find Osama bin Laden. And the takeout of Osama bin Laden is what President Obama upholds as his most successful foreign policy achievement.
You know something, Gail? I just don't mean to beleaguer this point, but I don't care about the bad guys. I don't care about their well-being. And let me use as an analogy, if I may, what happened yesterday in Pakistan. As the bad guys walked into a school and shot and slaughtered over 120 students and teachers. Now, had someone had previous information or had a captive that was a member of that Al-Qaeda group that was going to do this, I do not blame them if they'd have cut off every toe, every finger, and done anything they could to extract that information. I am sick and tired of the bad guys killing, maiming, and crippling society, and we have to be goody two-shoes, hands off.
But that's not even what we're talking about. No one in the Bush administration was saying to do those types of things that you just mentioned. They were talking about interrogation techniques, and the strongest one, the waterboarding, is something that members of our military voluntarily undergo in order to prepare in case they become captives overseas. And if you realize that many of the airline pilots of commercial airlines are former military members, and those pilots who died in 9/11, some of them were former military members who, as part of their training, had undergone waterboarding too. So the legal definition under the federal statute is severe consequences. It's intended to make the interrogee have the feeling of suffering. And we all understand in our minds what a colloquial definition of torture is. For me, listening to President Obama's State of the Union is torturous. But certainly that's not against federal law. And when we see how violent and determined the enemies of America, the enemies of violent extremist jihadism are, we have to understand that we have to take strong measures to stop it. And as you know, President Obama has this very controversial drone program where through deliberations in the White House, they decide who the drones will strike, which frequently take out family members, people who are standing nearby, the target of the drone strike. Those policies of President Obama are at least as controversial and debatable as the enhanced interrogation program under President Bush, yet they do not give us the actionable intelligence so we can prevent future attacks and we can find our enemies and dispatch with them.
I'm just going to be very blunt. The left, in my opinion, and feel free to correct me if you wish, the left, in my opinion, is based on a bunch of frauds and phonies and liars. Dianne Feinstein knew all about these techniques way back after 9/11 and basically had a file on everything and knew everything that was going to be done to try to garner information. How dare she now and others of the liberal left and the Democratic Party step up and say, oh, this is horrendous. Why, this is un-American. How dare they get away with this?
You're right, how dare they, because it is a partisan attack during wartime. It is putting politics above public safety. And if you look carefully at that report, they didn't release the whole report. They only released basically an executive summary that was about 400 or 500 pages long. But if you dig into what they have publicly released, it is clear that they did not interview the CIA officials who were involved in the enhanced interrogations. They did not interview the detainees. They did not do their homework. And any investigation, any study or subject where you go in and you try to find out what went on, what worked, what didn't work, you can't do it with incomplete evidence. And if you do such a thing that costs the taxpayers $40 million to complete this investigation without making sure you do a thorough investigation that gives you all the evidence you need, then it really becomes clear that is merely a partisan hack job intended to give the Democrats a political advantage instead of understanding how we can, what we've done well and how we can do things better in terms of our national security.
Gail, you know, I was watching last night James Mitchell, the retired Air Force psychologist that helped develop some of the waterboarding techniques, etc. And the number one thing that stood out to me watching that with my wife was, where are we now? We're so mamby-pamby goody two-shoes because of the Democratic left. What about our security? What are your personal thoughts about how safe we are absolutely this morning?
We are not safe, and I wrote another piece last week in The Hill where I'm a contributor, and I talked about how we have a renewed focus on Obama's foreign policy failures. We have Ashton Carter, who President Obama has nominated to be the fourth Secretary of State in Obama's 6 years as president, which is a very high turnover for such a critical role as the Secretary of Defense. And this gives us all an opportunity as Americans to assess our national security and how President Obama's foreign policy has either achieved or hasn't achieved an increase or decrease in our national security. And you look around the world at all the places where he has attempted to intervene, just starting with China, for example. He famously tried to do a pivot to Asia when his other foreign policy objectives were not working out. And recently he entered into an economic agreement with China that ties our hands, our industry's hands behind our backs, limiting supposedly carbon emissions. And in return for that, China has given us a promise of sometime in the future doing something unspecified to reduce their carbon emissions. And this is just one of many places where President Obama has turned his attention. He has disadvantaged Americans. He has empowered our China is not our enemy, but certainly they do not share our core values of respect for human dignity, freedom of religion, and the rule of law. And he's given them an advantage that they do not deserve and really puts Americans at a disadvantage. And that's just one example.
I lost a lot of my dear friends over in Vietnam. I have utmost respect for the military and the putting of their lives on the line to keep this country free and what it has been for over 200 years. And I look at what this president is doing to minimize the value of our military, minimize the security of this country, and absolutely trash our Constitution, and I have nothing but absolute hatred for this administration for what they've done to put America on a precipice of danger.
We don't need to hate them to completely disagree with the choices they've made. And for observers in D.C. and around the country, we're not exactly sure if it's just incompetence on President Obama's part. Is it a lack of interest in the vicissitudes of the Oval Office? Or is it akin with his ideological commitments that America is not exceptional? Or if it's exceptional, it's only exceptional in the sense that Greeks think that Greece is exceptional. And when we think about this and assess his foreign policy blunders in the Middle East, in Syria, in Russia, in the Ukraine, with Crimea separating from the Ukraine, we look around the world and we understand that the world is a more dangerous place because of President Obama's policies and his administration's actions. And that's without even talking about the Iranian nuclear program and understanding that 4 brave Americans died in the Benghazi attack, which was subsequently covered up by the Obama administration. So while I agree that this can generate a lot of strong feelings on the part of Americans who feel that the president has either let us down or is intentionally driving us in the wrong direction, we have to cling to what President Reagan always told us, that America remains a city shining upon a hill. And we all need to take comfort in that and be optimistic and see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. He is only allowed to have 2 terms. And despite his complete and utter disregard for the rule of law, we do have a Constitution. We do have separation of powers. And we understand that there will be a change. And for many of us, it cannot come soon enough.
Yeah, but wait a minute, Gail. I think you're a good enough friend on this program. I can say this and take issue with some of that. This man is destroying not only our image across the waters to other countries, he's also destroying from within. This man, with his lack of respect for America, take it through the Ferguson case or take it to the Staten Island case, and not standing up and trying to unify Americans and actually having a confidant like Al Sharpton, and it is the world's greatest divider, I think, in this country. This man, Obama, has done more to tear us apart from within and also with our security overseas.
Yes, but we cannot personalize it. I think that is a real mistake. We have to focus on the policies that we object to. We have to focus on the illegal actions that have gone on under this administration. You may well recall that his Attorney General, Eric Holder, has suffered no price for being held in contempt of Congress on the Fast and Furious scandal. We understand that the IRS has not had any punitive action taken against them by this administration. President Obama himself alleged that there was not even a smidgen of corruption at the IRS, when all Americans understand that that is vastly far from the truth. And his basically an assist, since he's a basketball player, so I can use that term, his assist from the IRS was one of the reasons that he was able to be reelected in 2012. But I strongly believe that we cannot personalize this against the man. We have to look at his policies. We have to look at his actions. And those are the places where we have to meet him and show the alternative arguments. And thank goodness for talk radio, people like you who are out there getting the word out to all Americans that we are not trapped by the narrative of the mainstream media anymore, but we can have these conversations and we can hold President Obama accountable for the very serious mistakes he has made as president.
Gail, I wished I had longer. I just absolutely enjoy a conversation with you, regardless of the topic. And I want to extend to you and yours a very Merry Christmas. But you got to promise me right after the first of the year you'll come back and we can have another discussion.
I would love to, and Merry Christmas to you and to all of yours as well.
Thank you very much. Attorney Gail Trotter, and I think the world of her opinion and being on this program. Thank you very much, and Merry, Merry Christmas. Oh, my goodness, I'm running late. What else is new? And we've got to get the weather forecast in here. The weather brought to you this hour by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Everything they sell guaranteed. And they've got a great idea for Christmas gift giving. It's a Christmas box from Scarrows Meats, different prices, different types of meat in each box, and they are delicious. 324-7657, the number to call. They sell taste one bite at a time. Here now, Michael Rogers weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers is at the ranch. You know, weather for today, you've got a slight chance of rain and snow. This should kick in about 11 o'clock this morning. Otherwise, our weather story turns out to be a weather system where it could be a lot worse than what I just gave you. But other than that, you'll come out of it. Tomorrow's going to be a nice day, partly sunny, high 43. Temperature's still going to be in the 40s for the daytime high, and mid-upper 20s for the overnight low. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Brought to you this hour by Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew at Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And the number to call, 324-7657. They are selling taste one bite at a time. Hey, you know some great folks, and that's Burley, the Burley Area Merchants Association, BAMA. I love that nickname, BAMA. Support your friends and neighbors and shop locally. Shop them first before taking your money out of town, because your money will help boost the local employment, help promote the economic development of the area, and foster a sense of community. So please shop with your Burley Area Merchants Association, BAMA. They wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. There you go. We're almost wrapped up for today. And I had another little news note that I wanted to get on the air this morning, and I can't find it right now. But tomorrow on the show, we are going to have Randy Hardy is going to be on the air, and we're going to talk to Randy at about 8:30 tomorrow morning about the potato being accepted by the WIC program. Finally, it's been long overdue. And then, of course, we're going to have Doug Johnson from Colorado. And then we've got the Idaho Fish and Game Report. We got all kinds of goodies coming up tomorrow on our show. And Gina and I did not finish our discussion and conversation. Gina, Christmas shopping for yours truly, and Deanne's out in the other room, so just whisper this so she can't hear it. Do you have any ideas?
I'll text.
Pardon?
I'll text you.
Oh, you're going... Oh, wait a minute. Let's not get too high-tech here. She's going to text me ideas, Deanne, so don't look at my
Deanne, stay off of his phone.
Stay off my phone, Goober. Okay. So she's going to text me. Now, I'm not sure if I know how to... I can't text you back.
That's okay. You can call me back.
Oh, okay. Well, then why don't you just call me?
I could do that, too.
Oh, okay. You make it so difficult. I just told you last hour that I had learned how to use my tablet a little bit. Hey, listen, lady, don't go overboard.
I need to show you how to text. I need to teach you.
Well, there's a lot of things. I'm an old man, and when I first learned how to turn the tablet on, that was a day that we went to Baskin-Robbins and had ice cream.
Day of celebration.
You're not kidding. But anyhow, I got to get my Christmas shopping done, and Friday is a big day. We go around and make all of our deliveries with Deanne's delicious cookies and everything, and then next Tuesday, I wish you could get out of the studio and come over here next Tuesday.
I wish I could too, but I can't because, well, somebody needs to put you on.
See, I know you, and you love to eat.
I do.
And we're going to have food here and all kinds of goodies Deanne's cooking, and you just have a ball.
I know, especially with all of Deanne's food.
She is.
I'm jealous.
She's excellent. Like you, she just loves to cook.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Anyhow, do you have anything else for us today? Is there anything amazingly... Oh, by the way, did you hear that news story earlier that we had on the air about that fake cop?
Yeah, I did. Very scary.
You know, it is scary, and you and I have talked about this in the past on this program, and I urge everybody, if somebody comes up and you don't have a clue if they're really representing a police officer or if they're agency or sheriff's department, do not get out of the vehicle and keep your windows rolled up almost to the top, and if they don't have the proper identification, you make some calls and make sure you get help.
Yeah. Oh, you can always call 911. You can call dispatch and you can confirm that, yes, if it is one of their officers or if it is not, and never pull over in a dark area.
Amen.
Always pull over in someplace well lit.
Yep, and don't get out of your vehicle.
No, don't.
Hey, by the way, did they catch the guy?
No, they have not.
Okay, well, we'll keep that story open for tomorrow and let me know if you hear anything.
You got it.
Okay. Don't forget our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you absolutely with the best in traction tires for winter driving. All the snow chains, they've got it all for you, including the best in batteries. Now, listen, check your battery. Have it go on in there to any one of the 7 locations, and they'll check your battery, and they'll go, holy smokes, you need a new one, or they might say, hey, yours is in tip-top shape. You better check it out today for the cold winter driving. And they've got the best in brake service, the best in front end alignments and shocks and struts and winter wheels. My goodness, safe driving this winter with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Got to run. We're done for the day. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06. We'll ride the horse for 3 hours on Wednesdays up at the ranch. God bless. The way things were are the way things ought to be. Merry Christmas, everybody.